Hello everyone, welcome to this new episode of our database learning tutorials. In this episode, we are going to learn how to create triggers. Yes, when we talk of triggers, we are talking about a code that we run or we write behind the scene, which executes when a specific action is done on a particular table or in a particular database. Yes, so I'm going to use this database called the SQL DB. But before that, I want you to see that I have no triggers created and everything that I'm doing is from scratch. Yes, so I'm going to create a trigger for this staff table that anytime a certain data manipulation language is being executed on this table, we keep some records. Yes, so let me expand this table and let's go to the triggers. So you see that I have no trigger already existing. Yes, the trigger that we are going to create is going to store the name of the person who did whatever he did, whether he inserted data, whether he updated data or deleted data. Also, we are going to store the date the person did that, and we are going to also track the action that the person did, whether the person did insertion, update, or delete. So that is what we are going to do. Before we do that, we need to create a table to hold this record. So this table will only have only the database administrator or the DBO will have access to that table. So we have create table TBL and let's name it staff log staff log table. Now let's specify our columns. First, we are going to save the user who did the transaction on the table. So let's say vaca 50. Let's use staff ID because we will need the ID to track certain things from the action that the person did. Now I also have action. The reason why I am using the underscore for the various columns is because all those words are keywords. Yes, so the action is also going to store whatever the person did as to whether the person did delete or insertion. Yeah, so this is the table that is going to store the records. So now let's run this query. So our table is created successfully. So now to the trigger itself. So we are going to create the trigger. The first one that we are going to do is for the insertion. So whenever someone inserts any data into the staff table, it is going to track or save this record about the insertion. So now let's go ahead and say create trigger insert. So this is the name of the trigger, insert staff records. Now we have to specify the name of the table that we are going to perform the trigger on. So on TBL as per the name that you've stored in your database. So mine is TBL staff as it is here. Then I will come to the next line and I will say after insert, because after inserting, that is when this particular trigger should also execute. Then I say as begin. So we are going to begin with what we want to happen. Okay, so now we need to select some records from the data that the person inserted. So first we will declare a variable. So declare say staff ID. We need to make it a scalar variable. Staff ID, and we say varchar 50. Yes, then we come to the next line and we say select at staff ID equal to inserted dot staff underscore ID. So when you go to the table TBL staff and you look at the columns, you see that this staff ID is different from this one. Yes, this one is referring to the staff ID in the table, but this is the variable that we declared. So this will be equal to this value that was inserted here from inserted. Then you come to the next line. Now we've gotten the staff ID on which the insertion was done on. So what we are going to do is to insert into, we are going to insert into the table that we created, yes, to hold these variables or values. So insert into staff log, it's the normal insert query, and you say values, and then you come to the next line, you open and close your bracket. Now let's look at some of the existing values in the staff table so that we can copy and make amendments for this video to be very short. So select all from TBL staff. Yes, so we have records in here. So let me select this particular records and paste it here and make some few changes. Yes. Now those that are varchar need to be put into brackets. Then you separate the other ones with comma. So depending on the data type, this one for instance we made it integer, so there's no need to put them in single quotes. And then this one too, we can leave it like this. So let me go and change the staff ID to, let's say 100, and then the name, first name to serial. Then let me change this to female. Yeah, so I think this is okay. Yeah. So we specify the values, we bring in the data types or the columns that we specify in the table that we created. So the values are going to at staff ID, comma, the next value will be the user, and this user is a built-in function to return the system user at the moment the execution took place. And then we specify what action was done. So we say it was inserted, data was inserted. Yeah, data was inserted. And then at the date, we don't need to enter date, we need to get the date from the database. And since it is a function, we need to bring this double bracket. Now after doing this, you end your trigger with the end statement, and then you go ahead and execute your trigger. So now the trigger is successfully created. So now let's go and see on the TBL stuff if the trigger is there. So let me expand it again, and we go to refresh the trigger table and we expand it. So now we have the insert records trigger, which is this. So now we are going to insert this data into the table just to confirm if it will be able to track the records for us. So we just go ahead and say insert into tbl underscore staff log. You see values. Okay, no, so we are inserting into the staff table rather. Yeah. So values and then followed by this. Alright. So let me insert this records. Okay, so it's values, not value, values. Yeah, so it says one row affected. So meaning this record is now inserted into the staff table. So let's see if it actually inserted. So in the staff table, we're previewing the records in there. Yes. So when you come here, you see that we have the staff with ID 100, which is this one, and the first name is serial. Okay. So now let's look at the staff log table to see if those records were able to track. Yes. So when you come to the staff log table, you see that the staff which was inserted has its ID here. Who did that? That is the DBO, database owner. What action was done? It was insertion that took place, and the date as compared to this one, you see that the date was also captured in addition with time as well. Yeah. So now let's go ahead and do for the update. So we copy the same query and then we bring it down here, and then we change the name to update staff records on TBL staff with the same values. Someone may ask, why is it that we are updating but rather we are keeping record of, we are saying inserted? It is because when you update records, something comes to replace what was already there. So definitely there is an insertion in there. Now we need to change this one and say updated. Yes. So now let's run this one too and execute it. Now let's update a record in the staff table and see what happened. So update tbl staff, set, let's say gender equal, set gender equal male. Remember the records that we inserted, we did the gender as female, so we are updating it to make it a female. To confirm that, let me select everything so that we can be sure of that. Yes, so the gender is female, right? So we are changing it to male. So don't forget your where clause, else we are going to update everything in the table. So where staff ID is equal to we can copy this and paste it in a single quote, then we run it. So it says one row affected. So now let's go, and I'm not sure so we have to create this trigger first. Alright, so it has already been created here. So once this one too has been inserted, we need to, let's select everything from the staff log table, which we created to keep track to see what happened. So we need to change this one, yes, after update. Sorry for that. So after update, so we need to drop. So let's drop the first one. So drop trigger, update, staff records. And then recreate it because we did not update here as update. Yes. So now let me create it. Yeah. Since the update took place, it is now changed to female. So let's confirm that one. So the staff with ID 100 now has the gender as male. So we are changing it to female so that we can keep track of it. So now let me update it. So now it is updated. So you see that the trigger query has also run. So it says one row affected, one row affected. So let's select everything from the log table and see what happens. Yes, so it also keep track of the same thing, which the action was what? Updated. Yes. So this is how triggers work on insert and update. Now you can go ahead and declare a variable at the action level. So declare at action. The reason why we are doing this, we want to keep track of what exactly we want to keep track of multiple actions that took place. So we do this by saying, okay, so let's look at the size we give to, so the action was 40. Yeah. Now, so when it comes here, we will not make it update again, but rather we will bring the variable that we created, which is action. Now, since we've done this, we need to bring conditional statements. We need to bring conditional statements in this. So for instance, if you want to keep track of what was changed or which particular column something happened, so we bring if statement. So if update, and you bring the column name. So let's say if the update was taking effect on the gender table, if the update took effect on the gender table, we say we set this variable to, so set at action equal, let's say updated gender. You can go ahead and say if update was on, let's say, first name, we set action equal updated first name. Yes, so you can make it this way. So let's drop the first one and do this one. because it will not allow us to do it. So let's drop trigger t update staff record. Yeah, so I've dropped it and let me recreate it. Yeah, so now it's created. So now I'm making the update on the gender. So let's see how it is going to save it. Now I said save. So let's select or preview the records in the staff log table. So you see the action was what? Updated gender. Let me do it on first name. So f name equal John, and then let me run it. So it is also done. So you see the next one was like updated first name. So you can go on and on and on to check which column the action actually took place. So this is the end of this video. I'm going to make another video on how to track the delete and many others more. We're going to learn how to create store procedures and another thing. If you're interested in all this video, just give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you all.